Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam. We have heard Srimad Bhagavatam. The overview of Srimad Bhagavatam, significance of Srimad Bhagavatam, and concise summary of Srimad Bhagavatam in Malayalam. The first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which will be closing today. Third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, what did we hear from third canto? We have heard Vidura Uddhava Samvada, then Vidura Maitreya Samvada, and all the glories of the Vaikuntha Dhamma in the Lord Varaha's pastimes. And then Ardama Muni Devahuti Katha. And then Lord Kapila's instructions. So in Lord Kapila's instructions, we have heard about the first question, answer to the first question of Mother Devahuti. How do I get out from this? Aham Mameti, oh my Lord, please. Can you tell me? Answer to that is, you can get out through Adhyatmika Yoga. And that can be done by Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Of all of those three, Bhakti Yoga is the best. Second question, how do I do Bhakti Yoga? What is the potent way of doing? Then, for that, answer is Bhava Bhakti. Doing Bhakti with emotion, Bhava. That is the best. That's the answer. And next, Mother Devahuti asks, if someone cannot do that with the emotion, what do they do? Answer is Sadhana Bhakti. Okay, that is wonderful. But can you also tell me about how Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga also can get rid of Aham Mameti? That is also told, done. And that's where we have compared all these three yogas, especially for the Jnana Yoga, destination is the impersonal Brahman. And we have compared the Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga at that time. And after that, we have seen how Bhakti Yoga is more complete, superior, and is based on the descending mercy, so that is more potent. So of all the three yogas, Bhakti Yoga is most potent, and the result is the ultimate destination, which covers the destination of Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. All that we have heard. Okay. And after that, Kapila Muni started explaining about Sadhana Bhakti. We have heard Sadhana Bhakti in detail, which leads to the start of the Shuddha Bhakti, which is Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Cha Mayi Pashyati Tasyaham Na Pranashyami Sachame Na Pranashyati. That we have heard. After that, Mother Devahuti asked about the nature of time and also the evolution of the consciousness. We have discussed that. We have heard about this. And how Bhakti Yoga is Shuddha Bhakti is Purna Vikasita Chetana. We have heard that. After that, how the time is viewed as the expansion of Lord Vishnu. And in that way, devotees are abhaya, fearless. They don't have the resentment of ongoing effect of time, and they don't have the fear of future effect of time, because time is Krishna himself, the energy of Krishna, and Krishna is the supreme controller. So in that way, the devotees don't have the resentment or the fear that is caused by the time. We have heard all that. And Mother Devahuti thought, okay, by this time, anybody would be convinced of Bhakti Yoga and they would take up. In case they don't, then they should hear about this Samsriti, the miserable cycle of birth and death. When they hear that, then they would at least realize, at least out of fear, they would start doing right. So on that note, we have heard about Samsriti. But at the very end, Kapila Deva says, you don't have to be bewildered by this miserable, horrific Samsriti, birth of cycle of birth and death. If you take up the Bhakti Yoga and practice it with detachment, then you don't have to be worried about this cycle of birth and death. That's where we have ended last time. And today, what we will hear is, now that we have heard from Lord Kapila about how a grihastha, not a grihastha, but a grihameti. Grihameti is a household life for sense gratification. That is grihameti life. Yeah. So a household life where there is no spirituality is grihameti. Okay. A household life where there is spirituality and they dovetail their services is a grihastha life. So we have heard about a grihameti life last time. So there we have heard that in order to maintain the family, these grihametis, they don't hesitate to commit sin. And that's how they end up in different kinds of hells. That we have heard, right? So in that case, the grihametis, they are interested in ardha and kama, not even dharma, because they don't care about dharma or choose a dharmic path for livelihood. They don't care to commit sin or corruption. So they don't care about dharma. They have only two things, that is ardha and kama. Somehow get wealth, somehow get the sense gratification, fulfill your desires. These are the only two things. That in the section of Grihamedas we have heard last time. A similar category we are going to hear today. But in this category, there is dharma, ardha, and kama. This category of people, they do their actions in a dharmic way, so they can get the wealth, get the fame, and then kama, so they can satisfy their desires. Who are those? Those are the fruitive workers, the kama workers. So today we will hear about the fruitive workers. Yeah, and the second one was Hiranyagarbha. We will hear more about that. Yeah, Hiranyagarbha practitioners. And the third one is Lord Kapila summarizes the Adhyatmika Yoga here. So different kind of workers and their destinations. We will hear that. And after that, Lord Kapila describes, we'll go to that. So first is this, and then he explains more about bhakti. Yeah, how bhakti is superior. And after hearing that, in the next chapter, yeah, so Lord Kapila explains how bhakti is superior and urges Mother Devahuti to take up the process of bhakti. And he tells why certain people are interested in bhakti and why some are not interested in bhakti. All that in the 32nd chapter we'll discuss now. And the last one would be, after hearing all this, Mother Devahuti glorifies Kapila Deva. All right. After glorifying, she goes into meditation and then attains perfection. So these are the topics that we are going to hear. Okay. Let's go to Mother Devahuti. 32. Okay, so here we are. Is there something that I need to do? Is this big enough, the screen, or do I have to adjust anything here? Is it okay to go ahead?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, thank you. So that's Mother Devahuti and Lord Kapila. And again, Srila Prabhupada here. Okay. So this is what we are talking about. So in the attached workers, in other words, fruitive workers. One who is doing work for self-gain are called fruitive workers. We just heard about those people who do work for self-gain. They don't mind doing sinful activities. Those are grihamepis. They are also attached workers. Attached in the sense they are attached to the result. Their result is their sense gratification. That's why they are also called attached workers. And here, karma kandi people. Right now, in Kali Yuga, there are not so many karma kandis because karma kandi peoples they do the dharma. They do the religion, follow the religion. They do the yajnas, fire sacrifices. They do pakka fire sacrifices. Why do they do that? Why do they follow the religion like that? So they can get the artha. What is artha here? So they can get the wealth, so they can get the reputation. So much of wealth and so much of reputation, not just on the planet Earth. Their goal is to go to Soma, planet, moon planet, Indraloka, Chandraloka. That is their artha. That is their artha, so they can fulfill their karma there, desires there. All the bodily gratifications they wanted to fulfill. And in Indraloka, Chandraloka, that is even more subtler sense gratification than here. Even more subtler and denser. So it is still on Annamaya Kosha, bodily platform. At the most, Manomaya Kosha. That's it. Okay. So in this way, they perform the dharma to gain the wealth or fame, to fulfill their desires or sense gratification. So these people, because they're so much attached to fulfilling their sense gratification of their body and mind, they do not want to hear anything about bhakti. Because bhakti means seva. Seva means you put your body aside, you put your mind aside, and you serve a higher authority. That's why they don't like to hear anything about bhakti, these karma kandis. So Kapiladeva is talking about them. So these people, they do the artha, they do the dharma for the artha, so they can attain their karma, and they are averse to bhakti. So these people, they go to Pitraloka, Chandraloka, Indraloka, and after spending time in those planets, after all their karmic activity account comes to zero, then they come back to the planet Earth again. In this way, they're just in the Brahmanda only, just chasing this punacharvita charvananam, chewing the chewed, just in the want of the gratification of the body and mind, Annamaya Kosha and Manomaya Kosha. They just rotate here only, Annamaya Kosha, Manomaya, Annamaya, Manomaya. They don't even go to Jnanamaya, what to speak of Vijnanamaya, spiritual world and bhakti. These are certain kind of people. These are karma kandis. Kapiladeva says about them too. And then so here it is said that this path is called, in Bhagavad Gita also this terminology is used. Their path is towards the moon. It means they go to Chandraloka, then they, after gratifying their senses, and then spend all their karma, then they come back. So their path, their route is known as, the path to the moon. These karma kandi people. Path towards the sun means spiritual people. So that's what next one is explained. Who is heading towards the sun? Who is treading the path towards the sun, travel through the sun? All those people who have spiritualized their life, who are accepting something absolute, something superior than what they are. They could be jnanis, they could be ashtanga yogis and bhaktis, but ultimately they will end up in the spiritual realm. So that is detached workers, whose path is traveling through the sun. Okay. And then Lord Kapila explains about Hiranyagarbha worshippers. Hiranyagarbha means Hiranya is golden. Garbha is like a embryo, anda, like that, golden egg, like that. In the very beginning, if you remember, there is a golden egg. The whole universe, Brahmanda, will be in an anda form. Brahma, anda. Anda is like egg. So Hiranyagarbha, they are the source of the Brahma of all the planetary systems, of all the Brahmandas. So to make it short, Hiranyagarbha worshippers are worshippers of Brahma. So why do they do that? They are not so much about the dharma they do. Is not so much about Artha and Kama, but they want to go to the Brahmaloka, Satyaloka. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. They're not after sense gratification. Then why is there concern? Why is that not encouraged here by Lord Kapila? He says, even Brahma or the four Kumaras, if they don't have bhakti, they will not enter into the spiritual realm. Brahma, if he is inclined to create this, visarga, if he is inclined to participate in creation and again with the doership, then he has to come back again. That particular jiva who took the post of the Brahma, even though he was in the post of Brahma, if he does not have taste for devotional service and serve Govinda in spiritual planet, at the end of that Brahmanda, at the end of life of Brahma, he will enter into Mahavishnu, the body of Mahavishnu, and then have to come back again, because he's still harboring the doership of I want to do that visarga again. Okay, so in this way, even if it is Brahma or the four Kumaras that are born of Brahma, if they don't have bhakti, they will not enter into the spiritual realm, not into the spiritual planet. That's why, if they don't have bhakti, they will not enter into the spiritual realm. What to speak of any other living beings? So it is the requisite that one has to be engaged in the devotional service to enter into the spiritual planets. So dear mother, please take up this process of bhakti, says Lord Kapila. And he really criticizes these Sakama workers, where their sense gratification, where they are after sense gratification and wants to go to Indraloka, Chandraloka, Pitraloka. He criticizes Lord Kapila, criticizes them. And then now, as we discussed, urges Mother Devahuti to take up Bhakti Yoga, to start doing the devotional service, to start worshipping the lotus feet of Lord Hari. After explaining all this, right? Lord Kapila has explained all of that. He explained the Jnana Yoga, the Ashtanga Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, about the Grihametis, and now about the Sakama workers, and then Hiranyagarbha worshippers. He explained everything about everybody. And now goes, dear mother, Tasmat Tvam Sarva Bhavena Bhajasva Parameshtinam Takunashraya Bhaktya Bhajaniya Padambujam. He says, Tasmat, that's why, oh my dear mother, that's why, now that I have explained you everything, Tvam, your good self, Sarva Bhavena, with your complete bhava, complete attention. Bhajasva, worship, Parameshtinam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How do you worship? How can you fix your mind? at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Tat gunashraya bhaktya. Take the shelter of the transcendental qualities of the lotus feet of Lord Hari. What does that mean? This reminds us of Harinam. Yeah. Sarva bhavena, the complete attention. Gunashraya, absorption in the transcendental qualities of the Lord. When the consciousness is absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, when the mind is engaged in relishing the transcendental qualities of the lotus feet of the Lord, bhajaniya padambujam. So in this way, do the bhajan of pada ambuja, lotus feet. In this way, taking the shelter of the transcendental qualities of the lotus feet of Lord Hari, please do your bhajan of Parameshtan. This is what Lord Kapila says to Mother Devavati. This is what exactly happens with the Harinama. In Harinama, we take the ashraya of the guna. Right? And when we take the ashraya of the guna of the Harinama, and when the absorption is deeper there, and when we do not want to come out of it, but we have to come out of it because we have to do other stuff too. But when we get to that platform, when we get that absorbed in the guna ashraya of the Parameshtan, then that is Namaruchi. Ruchi, right? The taste. How do we get the taste? By taking the ashraya of the guna. That's what Lord Kapila is saying. So he's urging Mother Devi to do the bhajan of the lotus feet of Lord Hari like that, and that is bhakti. And then after that he says, when you do bhakti like this, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaham Janyatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Yat Brahma Darshanam. Very similar verse is present in the first canto. What happens when we do Bhakti Yoga of Vasudeva Bhagavati? What is the Prayojita? What happens? Janyatyashu Vairagyam. From the Bhakti of the Vasudeva emerges, takes birth, the Vairagyam, detachment. As we get attached, even to the process of Bhakti, we get detached to the material things. Initially, because we have to chant, then we don't have time for movies, like that. So as we are getting attached to process of Bhakti, then we get detached to the karmic material things. So in that way, the detachment comes because we start to engage in Bhakti. Not only the detachment, jnanam, the knowledge comes. What is this knowledge that they are talking about? Is it just the knowledge that we hear from here and there and we get to know? Is it just about the informative knowledge? When bhakti is practiced sincerely, taking shelter of Sri Guru and Krishna, then whatever knowledge is said in the Shastra is realized in the heart. So when somebody practices bhakti sincerely, they have realized knowledge, not just informative knowledge. How do we know if somebody has realized knowledge or informative knowledge? If the words of a person are going with the behavior, then the person has realized knowledge. They are acting on a realized platform. If the words of a person are just talking Shastra, but there is not much of achar, then that is just an informative knowledge that is accumulated and is being said. Yeah? So in this way, when bhakti is practiced sincerely, again, what does that mean? When humble service is offered externally, and when we continue to the Shravana with faith, that's what bhakti, practicing bhakti sincerely means actually. These are the two things, main things in bhakti. Seva, Shravana. Seva, external seva, humbly, and Shravanam with faith. When the Shravanam is done with faith, then we do the seva of the Harinam also. So in this way, the Vairagyam, detachment comes, and the realized knowledge also comes. Okay, that's about bhakti. And the symptoms of such a devotee. We have just spoken, right? Yeah. What are the symptoms of such a devotee who has that realized knowledge? And the detachment. They are equiposed, transcendental to good and bad. Sukha dukkha, sama. These are the qualities that are mentioned in the 12th chapter. Yasman no dvijate lokam, lokan no dvijate jaya. Harsha marsha bhayodveda. Muktema sachame priya. Who is not disturbed with harsha and marsha, the happiness and sorrow. And they are equiposed. These are the qualities of a person who are advancing in bhakti, who is having the realization within and are acting on that platform. These are the Vaishnava qualities, basically. So in this way, Lord Kapila says, okay, my dear mother, I'm urging you to take up this process of bhakti yoga, take the shelter, ashraya of the guna of the lotus feet of Lord Hari, and you will get the vairagyam and the realized knowledge. And look at this, these are the qualities one would develop as they progress in bhakti. And then he says, according to the practice, one's practice, spiritual practice, the same absolute truth can be experienced as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. That we have heard also, right? Vadanti tat tattvavidas, tattvam yajnanam advayam, brahmeti paramatmeti Bhagavan iti shabdyate. Absolute truth is one, right? But that truth, it's like this. Actually, we will get the example. There is an example already that is mentioned. We'll get to that too. But in this way, the absolute truth can be perceived just as consciousness. And if they go a little deeper, then they will see a person behind the consciousness. And if their desire is to reciprocate with them, the same person will reciprocate as Bhagavan. Okay, that is said. And now, Lord Kapila is speaking about Brahman, the consciousness, the Brahma Jyoti. He says, first he mentions this, very important. Common requirement for all yogis, Jnana Yogi, Ashtanga Yogi, Bhakti Yogi, is detachment. That is there. Definitely for Jnana Yogis, without detachment. From the beginning to end, the whole process is detachment and based on detachment only. And all they have to put personal effort for detachment, detachment, and detachment. Neti, neti, neti. I am not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not whatever I'm seeing around. So, Jnana is totally based on detachment. Ashtanga is also based on detachment, so much more in the beginning, up until they have the darshan of the Paramatma. Bhakti Yoga, in Bhakti Yoga, detachment is default by attaching to the Lord. Param drishtva nivartate. Because of the higher taste in bhakti, detachment automatically happens. That's the beauty of the bhakti, potency of bhakti. Same thing as an example, yeah? Because we need time to chant, because we have to chant, that desire of wanting to chant automatically detaches us from some material entertainment. It is very hard to detach from the material entertainment if we don't have something higher to hold on to. Yeah. So in this way, in bhakti, the detachment automatically happens as we are attaching to something higher. That's the beauty of bhakti. And then Lord Kapila also says, what to speak about this Brahman, Brahmajyoti. Brahmajyoti is just Bhagavan is the source of Brahmajyoti. So beyond Brahman is Bhagavan. In this way, Lord Kapila is saying, though detachment is the prerequisite of all the yogas, and even though Jnana Yoga is about Brahman platform, Brahmajyoti, but Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Okay? But Bhagavan is, from Bhagavan comes the Brahmajyoti. Bhagavan is the platform from Brahmajyoti. In this way, he gives a little more information about the Jnana Yoga here. And after all this, he already reinforced, right? He already urged Mother Devahuti, come, please worship the Padambujam, Bhajaniya Padambujam, by taking Ashraya of the Guna of the lotus feet of Lord Hari. He already did that. And as a summary, he's saying this. Yeah, this is the final slide. He has explained about everything, everyone, all the yogas, different kind of workers. He explained a little more about the Jnana Yoga also, and how Bhagavan is the platform, is the source of Brahman. He has explained that also, and urged Mother Devahuti to take up the process of Bhakti Yoga. And finally, he says, he already mentioned that absolute truth, Param Satyam, is realized as Brahmajyoti by some. But if they get a little closer, then Paramatma is revealed. If they want to reciprocate with Paramatma, then Bhagavad Tattva is revealed. He already said that. And finally, he's bringing this point, Lord Kapila. He says, Yadendriya Pradatvarai Artho Bahugunashrayah Eko na Anyayate Tattvat Bhagavan Shastra Vattamabhi. Here, the example of milk is given. Milk is an object, right? It's like this. Param Satyam is a Vastu. Milk is also a Vastu. Okay? This milk can be seen, and then it can be seen and said, oh, okay, this is some white fluid substance. That is true. That's not wrong. And then when we are hearing about milk, hearing about the milk, we are seeing it. Right? When we are seeing, okay, then we say this is white fluid. Okay. Smelling it. This smells good. Smelling milk. Right? And put the fingers in there. Oh, this milk, this is cold. So this is all about milk. Nothing about this is wrong. Milk is white to look at. Milk smells good. And when touched, then the natural temperature is cold. But the full information about the milk is obtained when we drink it. The taste of the milk, right? And when we are drinking it, we are seeing it, we are smelling it, we are tasting it. Like that, Param Satyam. Param Satyam is Adhyatmika Vastu. This Adhyatmika Vastu is substance. We are also substance. There is some substance, right? Each person is a substance. Like that, Param Satyam, Bhagavan is also Adhyatmika Vastu. So Adhyatmika Vastu is one. That Adhyatmika Vastu can just be seen. Then that is just Brahmajyoti. So The Brahman realization is not wrong. They're seeing it, but it's not complete. They haven't tasted the milk yet. Okay, we have seen, and then we also smelled it, and we touched it. That's Ashtanga Yoga realization. This is better. They have seen the milk, smelled it, and touched it, but they haven't drank yet. They don't know the taste of reciprocation with the milk. When the Bhagavan is reciprocated with the Bhakta, that is equivalent to drinking the milk. Drinking the milk is we are reciprocating with the milk, right? Like that. When Bhakta starts reciprocating with Bhagavan, then there is exchange of emotions, the rasa. That is the complete knowledge of the Adhyatma Vastu. Not only knowledge as seen, as smelled, as touched, but the experience of the milk, of how tasty it is. And after that milk is taken in, how it nourishes us. That is in Bhakti Yoga. In this way, not only knowledge, but the experience is given in Bhakti Yoga, and that's why this yoga is complete. And whatever information is obtained by Jnana Yoga, and the result given by Ashtanga Yoga is automatically obtained with Bhakti Yoga. In this example of milk, when we're drinking it, we already saw it, we already smelled it, we touched it, and then we're drinking it, like that. So in this way, Lord Kapila is saying how Bhakti Yoga is complete. Not that other yogas are wrong. They are right, but they are only partially true. But Bhakti Yoga has it all. Like that, Lord Kapila, he concludes the teachings and then says, okay, I have taught you all. And we'll be thinking, oh, this is so wonderful. We have heard it all about Adhyatmika Yoga, about Bhakti. And we wonder, there are billions of population here on the earth. And this may, how many are spiritually interested? What percentage is spiritually interested? On planet Earth, what percentage is spiritually interested? And is maybe, even if they're spiritually interested, how much of them are interested in bhakti? Bhakti, looking for reciprocation with Bhagavan. How much percentage? What percentage? Not so much, right? So not everybody who is given this information of bhakti is attracted to bhakti. All this bhakti katha does not necessarily attract everybody or make sense to everybody. Why is it so? Lord Kapila is giving that answer. It's because they're agnostic, they're envious and proud. Agnostic, atheistic is they are so strongly believing that there is nothing more superior than themselves. Yeah, envious and proud. So for somebody who has that kind of mentality, then they will not be able to appreciate bhakti. Yeah, and they are not ready to hear about bhakti. To them, you don't tell them about bhakti. This is the same teaching Lord Krishna gives at the end of Bhagavad Gita. He tells everything in Bhagavad Gita, and at the end he says, I give you this guhyam, confidential information. Do not reveal it for faithless or envious people. In other words, when somebody is outrightly seeming against bhakti, disrespectful to bhakti, and not having any inclination, they are like unripe fruits. We don't pluck unripe fruits from the trees. We let them sit on the tree so until they get ripened. So any Adhyatmika Katha, spiritual information, before we share, we have to see if the other person is receptive or not, if he's respectful to this adhyatmika, spirituality or not. Only then we would want to place this precious information in front of them. Otherwise, it's like pouring pearls in front of swines when they don't know the value of it. So that's one thing, when they're not ready. When they're not ready because of this, if they're disrespectful, not ready, and they have their own views. And the other category is when somebody is so much attached to the family. That is something to me. This we see around. So much attached to the family. I mean, everybody has families, everybody has responsibilities, but some are so attached that they don't have time for the spirituality. That is sad. They have a lot of weight and priority for the family. In the sense, responsibility should be taken care of, but indulging more in the family ties. So much indulgement in the family ties that they don't have time for spirituality. They also cannot pay attention to that. Yeah? And the other category is very important for us also. Who hate devotees. See, whoever is doing devotion, they just do their best. They just do their best. But if somebody is coming to a conclusion about bhakti, looking at the practitioner, and don't want to hear anything about bhakti, and don't want to see anybody else who is practicing that bhakti in a better way, then that person is really fixed on the negative aspect of the practitioner of bhakti. He's not inclined to see the positive aspect and how wonderfully others can follow bhakti like that. So in this way, they come to a quick conclusion about bhakti in view of certain devotees, and they hate the devotees and they hate the devotion. So when they have that strong negative feeling about bhakti, then we don't teach or we don't share bhakti with them right away. They are also considered unripe fruits. So these are all unripe fruits. And yes, proud, who are very rigid about their views and not wanting to hear anything about bhakti, and very much indulged in the family ties as of and not having any time for spirituality, and who have fixed negativity, strong hatredness towards the devotees and devotion. These are all unripe fruits. Don't touch them. Don't pull them. Let them sit there on the tree. Leave them alone. Let the time take its time. Time take its time. Yeah. Do not place bhakti knowledge in front of them. That, and then who to share this knowledge with? Who is willing to know? Who is willing to respect others, be friends with others, and serve others. Again, Jivadaya, Maitriyastu Sarvatra, all these. And not having detached from the external objects, not wanting to get entangled with the external objects, and whose mind is peaceful. Yeah. And who is willing to serve, that we have discussed. So when somebody is showing that inclination like that, basically, who is inclined to receive the information, who is respectful and friendly to others. These are the main things, right? And who is willing to uplift others through service, right? So inclination to receive the knowledge, willing to serve, respect, and be friendly. Then if this information of bhakti is given, it goes straight through ear, the mind, and then to the heart. And in the previous category, if the information is given, It will not even enter the ear, what to speak of the mind and the heart. So that's why Lord Kapila says, to these people you give bhakti, but to those people you don't give bhakti. And after hearing all this, Mother Devahuti feels so fortunate, and she starts glorifying the Lord. He says, what kind of tapasya, what kind of fortune is mine, oh my Lord? You gave birth to Brahma from your navel. And that Lord, Almighty Lord, you have decided to take birth in my womb, such an insignificant soul. What fortune is mine? And then she goes, you may be looking like a son for me, but you are not ordinary. Yeah? You have unlimited powers, inconceivable powers. You are not an ordinary child. I may be Mother Devahuti. You may be my son Lord Kapila here, apparently, but you are not an ordinary child. You are like Vatapatrashayi. Vatapatrashayi, in the Markandeya's pastimes, he was seen on the ocean on a banyan leaf. And this little child is sucking his own great toe, right? He looks like ordinary one, but is an ordinary child? No, he's not. In that way, you are also not an ordinary child. Yeah. And then she says, even Brahma, he had to do tapasya just to have darshan in the spurti. He cannot even have your direct darshan. What is my great fortune that I get to have darshan of you? So she expresses, glorifies the Lord with a very grateful heart. And then she says, you have appeared here in order to teach the path, this Adhyatmika Yoga, to disseminate the knowledge and to teach the process of bhakti. Yeah. So you are so potent and so purifying. Yan namadeya shravanadu kirtanat, yat pravanat, yat smaranad api kvachit, chvadopi satya savanaya kalpate, kutah punaste bhagavan darshanat. Yan namadeya, when somebody takes your nama, or shravananu kirtanat, hears your glorification, yat pravanad, when they worship you, yat smaranad, when they just think of you, apikvachet, swado, even the chandalas, the dog eaters, apisadhya, very instantaneously, savanaya kalpate, they get purified and they will be qualified even to do the yajna. Only a purified being, a Brahman initiated purified being, is eligible to do the yajna. But even a dog eater is eligible to do those yajnas, because just by hearing your nama or hearing your kirtana or worshipping you or just thinking of you is so potently purifying the dog eater that he instantaneously becomes qualified to do the yajna. If that is the case, with your nama, with your smarana, kutta punaste bhagavanu darshanat, what to speak of those souls who is having darshan of the Bhagavan himself. And then, this is a beautiful one. What is Mother Devahuti saying after talking about the darshan of Bhagavan? Aho bata swapachato gariyan yas jivagre vartate namatubhyam te pustapa te juhu sashnurarya brahmanucha nama grananti ete. This is the potency of the holy name. Aho bata, how glorious. Please hear this. This is almost the very ending of the whole katha. ending with the glorification of the holy name. Aho bata, how glorious! Swapachato gariyan, swapacho. Again, the dog eater. Even if it's a dog eater. Yes, jivagre vartate namatubhyam. On whose tip of the tongue is the holy name dancing? It is to be understood, even though one is a dog eater, if the holy name is dancing at the tip of his tongue, it is to be understood, te pustapa, they have performed all the tapas. Te juhu, they have performed all the 5 sacrifices. Shashnur, they have performed, Shashnur is, I think, they have performed all the austerities. Arya, they have all the Aryan qualities, the Vaishnava qualities. Brahmanuchur nama grananti ete, and they have all the knowledge of the Brahman. Nama grananti ete. That's why they were able to take your nama. This is what Mother Devaki is saying. And we are wondering, what? If somebody is just taking Harinam, it means they have done all this in the past. What it means is, whatever result one gets because of all the tapasyas, because of all the 5 sacrifices, because of all the worships, and because of possessing all the Vaishnava qualities, because of possessing all the Shastra in the Vedas, the result of all this put together is already given and is much more when somebody takes a Harinama, shelter of the Nama. And there is a very nice verse in Padma Purana, how holy name is everything. When we hear this glorification of the holy name, we wonder, what? The holy name we are chanting? Are we so fortunate? Is the holy name so potent? Mother Devahuti is saying this. And this is in Srimad Bhagavatam. I am not imagining. This is in the Shastra. Is this so? This holy name, Ya Jivagre Vartate Namatubhyam. Here the holy name is dancing at the tip of the tongue. If we hear the writings of the Acharyas and Golokira Namadana, Harinama Sankirtana, and different, the chanting, how Rupa Goswami writes that the holy name is coming from my heart and is dancing on my tongue. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also writes. And I have no control over it. I do not know what is happening. It is just coming from my heart and is dancing on my tongue and is making me mad. This is by Srila Bhaktivinoda. So this is the holy name springing up from the heart, dancing on the tongue. Shuddha Nama. When somebody is taken to that Shuddha Nama or being taken to that Shuddha Nama, it means they're already getting all the results of whatever is said here, starting from all the tapas, 5 sacrifices and everything. How does it make sense? Let's see. When somebody does the tapas, the 5 sacrifices, the worships, the Shastra in the Veda, what are they trying to do? What result are they trying to get? Again, Annamaya Kosha. Yeah, Manomaya Kosha, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya. When they do the tapasya or 5 sacrifices or the worships or the Vedic knowledge, all of that is to bring that consciousness, elevate that consciousness from Annamaya Kosha to Manomaya, past the Pranamaya, at the most to the Jnanamaya, Brahmanuchur, the Vedic Shastra, the Vedic knowledge and everything. After doing the tapas, after doing the 5 sacrifices, after doing the worships, after reading all the Vedic Shastra, it has come to Jnanamaya Kosha. Right? All those difficult things to just bring that consciousness from this base Annamaya Kosha to Jnanamaya Kosha. And where is Shuddha Nama coming from? From Vijnanamaya Kosha. This is Anandamaya Kosha. This is Turiya. This is Shuddha Sattva, Vishuddha Sattva. From here, the Shuddha Nama is being springing out. This is why Shastra says, Acharya says, the Shuddha Nama is springing out from the core of my heart, and it is just dancing on the tip of my tongue. I am unable to stop it. This is so wonderful. The Shuddha Nama springs from Anandamaya Kosha. This is why when somebody is chanting Shuddha Nama, they have already passed through all these koshas and are in Anandamaya Kosha. That's how the results of all these 5 sacrifices, worships, and the studies and everything, all that result and much more is in the Shuddha Nama, because it springs from Anandamaya Kosha. This is so wonderful, but how about me? I am not here. I am not in Anandamaya Kosha. I am stuck here in Annamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha. My chanting, yes, Harinam is there, but it is so much of Abhasa only. Even if I sincerely chant, it is in the Abhasa only. Though not Aparada, it is still in Abhasa. So my Nama is still in this. It's still stuck to Annamaya and Manomaya. At the most, Jnanamaya, intellectual platform. This is Nama at the most getting to Nama Bhasa, Bhakti in goodness, Jnanamaya Kosha. With our at most sincere sadhana, this is where we could get to. Bhakti to mode of goodness. Yeah. Nama Bhasa. Nama Bhasa is a really powerful state. But the next one is Shuddha Nama. Nama Bhasa is a process, is a stage. It's a clarifying stage. Starting from there to Annamaya Kosha, then Pranamaya, then Manomaya, coming to the Jnanamaya Kosha. This is all Nama Bhasa stage. Clarifying stage is really good, heading towards this way. So when it comes when fixed in the mode of goodness here, then this is Jnanamaya Kosha. How can we get to Shuddha? This Anandamaya Kosha, not on our own accord. This is the realm of Shuddha Bhakti, dependency on Krishna. When a Shuddha Bhakta from this realm is instructing, and when we hear that Shabda Brahman of the Shuddha Bhakta in this Anandamaya Kosha, that will impact us who are at this level. Their words have a potency. Their words, that Shabda Brahman coming from them, will give us the inspiration from within, the faith within, the strength within, and the taste within us that is needed. And this thing will pull us from this Jnanamaya Kosha to Anandamaya Kosha. So it's the matter of pull by the Shuddha Bhaktas from this platform to this platform. And all this is called the process of dependency or Sharanagati. Yeah. So this is a journey from there to here. What kind of Nama are we doing depends upon in what stage of Bhakti we are at. Okay, so this is about the Shuddha Nama. These are the glories of the Shuddha Nama. And whoever has received Nama, when they are sincerely chanting, it means they are going through Nama Bhasa stage, which is very good. And we just have to continue that as we continue to hear from the Shuddha Bhaktas. And everything that we need from within, will be given through their Vani. Those are the glories of the Shuddha Nama given by Mother Devahuti. She just said, "Yeah, Jivagre Vartate Nama Tubhyam." That's all she said. It's like a sutra. And then after that, she says, "Oh, it means they have done the tapasyas, they have done this, and all that. It is all there." Mother Devahuti said that. But how can we understand these sutras in Bhagavatam? From what acharyas have said. If we didn't have acharyas explaining this, then it'll be like, okay, information only, but how can I practice? Where do I start? How do I get there? That is all by our acharyas. Okay? So those are the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right, Mother Devahuti said that, and then she has glorified Lord Kapila, she has glorified the Nama, and she finally says, okay, you are the Supreme Person, you are the Brahman, and you are the destroyer of influence of modes, you are everything. And she ends the glorification. Then Lord Kapila says, "Dear Mother, awesome, I came here for a purpose. My purpose is accomplished. Now I will have to leave. You please give me the permission, but please go ahead, start this process of bhakti. You will achieve fearlessness. And you will achieve prema." What to talk of fearlessness? What to talk of abhayam? You will get prema. He assures that, Lord Kapila, and he leaves home. Then the final episode. Lord Kapila instructed, Mother Devahuti heard it all. So far, all the jnana is given. Now, the real time is hitting Mother Devahuti. The real life is hitting. Husband is gone, Kardama Muni, and now her son is also gone, Lord Kapila, to the forest. She's in this big palace, beautiful palace, gardens, flowers, trees, and then Gandharvas, maid servants, everything. Nothing really pulls her. She is very detached outside, but she is lamenting inside, very attached to somebody. In spite of hearing all this, Mother Devahuti, she could not come out of that attachment. Who is she attached to? To her son, who has instructed all this. And if you recall, okay, we will go ahead and see what happens. Mother Devahuti laments. She laments so much because she thinks of her son so much. She's so attached to him. And what happened as a result of that? Of the deep attachment to her son? Her son, here in this case, who gave her this Adhyatmika Jnana, is her Guru. At the same time, he is the Lord too. Her attachment to that personality as a son, that's the beginning factor. And then what happens? If somebody is attached to a sadhu, here her son is a sadhu who has instructed her. What happens? Prasangamajaram pasham atmanah kavayo vidu. Sayeva sadhu sukruto mokshatvaram apavrita. This is the very beginning of the Lord Kapila's teachings. This is the verse. Now we are at the end of Lord Kapila's teachings. So Lord Kapila said this in the very beginning to Mother Devahuti. Before he started any instructions, he said, consciousness is bahirmukha, ahammameti is because we are looking outside. Bahirmukha should become antarmukha, and it is not easy to do. That's why when you are bahirmukha, when you are strongly attached to things outside, place all your attachment, external attachment to a sadhu. That attachment to the sadhu, prasangamajaram pasham atmanak kavayo vidu. Sayeva sadhu sukruto. This ajaram pasham, this attachment is pretty strong. but place it on a sadhu, then mokshadvaram apavritam. Then the consciousness will turn antarmukha. That in the very beginning, Lord Kapila said, this is what is happening to Mother Devahuti. After all the instructions, when it comes to the practice, this is what happened to her. Her prasanga majaram pasham is on her son, but that son is a sadhu. Because her attachment is on her son, what happened to her? That sadhu has given Bhagavan instructions on Bhagavan, right? Guru gives us Bhagavan. That attachment to Sri Guru takes us to Govinda. This is why we are attached to Sri Guru, because Govinda is in his heart. In the same way, for Mother Devahuti, the whole thing started with the attachment to her son. But later on, she started the practice. What did her son say? What did the sadhu say? Sadhu said, attach yourself, take the ashraya of the guna and bhajasva padhambujam. That's the instruction of the sadhu. So attachment to the sadhu, vani of the sadhu, will result in the ashraya of the guna of the padambujam of Lord Hari. That's what happened to Mother Deva. So she was deeply absorbed in bhajasva padambujam, in the meditation of the lotus feet of Lord Hari, so much so that she didn't know what was happening to her body. This is the stage of bhava, where the meditation is so deep internally that they don't know what happens to their body. But Kardama Muni, he already provided, all these heavenly damsels to take care of her body. So they were just taking care of her body externally, and Vasudeva, whom she is meditating on, owned her as her property, as a devotee. So he is also taking care of her. And she was not thinned out. Her body was still very, very lively, very fragrant, very youthful, because Vasudeva is maintaining that body from within. So in this way, Mother Devahuti, she was totally absorbed in the meditation, and she attained Siddhi, the perfection. And that place is called Siddhapada. And at the end, after she attained perfection, the body of Mother Devahuti was melted and was flowing in that river. It is said that anybody who takes bath in that river attains perfection. And Lord Kapila is said to have traveled to Ganga Sagara, and it's believed that Lord Kapila is still there to bring auspiciousness to all the three worlds. Yeah, here this reminds me, Mother Devahuti, her body was melted and now was flowing like a flowing river. The same thing happened to Srila Narottam Das Thakura. During the Harinama, in that river, his disciples were slowly massaging his body as he was in the Harinam, as he was in the river, and the Kirtan was going on. So when they were massaging his body, then they realized something strange was happening. The color of the water was changing. It was just changing white, and the body was melting. Then they realized that their Gurudev is melting the transcendental bodies. That happened to Srila Narottam Das Thakura. I was just, when reading this, it just reminded me of Srila Narottam. So, dear devotees, this is about Lord Kapila, Lord Kapila's instructions. Devahuti and Lord Kapila's instructions of. We have already summarized everything in the beginning. And what we have discussed today is about the fruitative workers, the Sakama workers, and then Hiranyagarbha workers. After that, summarizing all the process of yogas and how Lord Kapila urged Mother Devahuti to do the bhajasva of Padambuja of Lord Hari by taking Guna Ashraya, Bhakti, and how Bhakti can give detachment, and realized knowledge, and the qualities of a pure being. And after describing everything about Bhakti Yoga and urging Mother Devi to take it, he then says where this Bhakti knowledge should be shared and where it is not to be shared, which fruits are ripe, which fruits are not ripe. After that, Mother Devapati glorifies Lord Kapila and then gratefully acknowledges her fortune that Lord Kapila has born as her son, and also clearly identifies that he's not an ordinary son. After that, she states how potent and powerful that everything about Lord Hari is, what to speak of the darshan. And then she gives the glories of the Shuddhanam. And then we have heard about how the attachment to a sadhu gave her direction and attachment to Govinda, lotus feet of the Lord, and absorption in the transcendental qualities of the lotus feet of the Lord, and how she attained perfection. Shri Lord Kapila ki Jaya, Mother Deva ki Jaya. So this is the